Hello, 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 everybody. A big welcome from our Loop Faces talk today, which has really a lot of interest because it's a subject that all goes very close to my heart and our heart, actually. Not only that, but it's our future. So we will talk. I have some amazing speakers with me, some friends over many years. So let me just introduce my co-speakers today. First of all, I would like to start with Rob Arrow. Our first guest, Rob Arrow, is a respected leader in the luxury travel industry with 18 years plus of experience. As a senior director of travel and head of Almost Saphir Concierge, he drives innovative leisure offerings, grows bespoke luxury travel, and manages key trade partnerships. He is also serves on advisory boards for Marriott Luxury brands, Aqua Luxury, Hilton Luxury, and contributed to World Traveler Magazine, Condé Nast, and Dubai Radio. So Rob is really a specialist in the luxury rebranding, new builds, and loyalty programs, and has a very strong focus on the GCC travelers. So a perfect match to speak today. So welcome, Rob, to Loop Faces.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. My second speaker is Sophie Momeni. She's the youngest kid on the block here, and we love the young generation, especially those that are really super resilient. My introduction for Sophie for the Loop Faces talk was open for work and enthusiastic Dubai lover. That's what it is. She is today. So I think it's great that she's on the talk because sometimes, when we are out of job, it's a little bit, people feel ashamed and so on, but this is the way it is nowadays. So we're happy you're here because Sophie brings a very unique dual experience from both the European travel industry and the luxury hospitality world in Dubai. Her mother, by the way, runs a luxury travel agency in Hamburg. So she's originally from Germany, roots come from Persia, but Sophie began her career in international leisure and luxury travel before moving to Dubai, where she worked for brands like Delano and Banyan Tree, and has a very strong focus on the DACH market. And of course, she brings a professional expertise and personal insight into what is happening in the region right now. So please welcome Sophie. Hello, Sophie.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. And last but not least, Hamid. Hamid Quitchat. Did I say this right?
100%.
Okay, perfect. Quitchat. Hamid. Hamid is the managing director of Guaranteed Travel Group, a company founded by his dad in Jordan. And today led together with the next generation. So there are three wonderful brothers. He oversees operations across Amman, Dubai, Barcelona, and soon Saudi. So, with over 20 years of experience in the travel and events industry, Hamid has built a reputation for delivering high impact programs across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. And under his leadership, you are really recognized by tourism boards and government entities, is also committed to the mentoring young professionals, which we like. And his work has been featured in various media outlets, highlighting his role as respected voice in the global travel and MICE community. So a great welcome to you, Hamid, as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right. Yes, with pleasure. So a fantastic round here with great knowledge. So what are we discussing today? Right now, depending on where you are in the world, the Middle East can feel very different. So today we want to look at both sides, the outside perception and the on-ground reality. So if you're sitting in Europe, like I do, you hear headlines, breaking news, geopolitical tensions, uncertainty of the region. But if you're in the Middle East itself, it seems like a different world, like you experience something completely different. This is what is happening, at least to me, when I speak to my friends and colleagues in the Middle East. So, and also an important question, what we are all facing is the Middle East tourism comeback truly resilient or more fragile than it appears? That's a question we all ask ourselves every day because it's such an important um, piece of business for all of us. So let's start with my great speakers. I would love to start with Rob. So before we dive into the bigger industry questions, tell us a bit about your company, please, your role. You're originally from the UK, so also you have this European part, but you've built your life and career in the Middle East. What exactly does your company do, and which markets are you active in? Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. Thank you very much, Astrid. And obviously, thank you again for having me today as well. So basically, Al Masafa Travel and Tourism. We are headquartered in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. I would say, in a nutshell, we are the largest travel management company in the region. So it's very interesting from our perspective because we obviously look after many different types of areas of the travel industry. Obviously, we have our consumer travel business, which is a traditional bricks and mortar business. We also have our call centers, and we have our online business as well. This trades out of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, and the UAE as well. And obviously, that gives us a very interesting oversight and insight into what happens across the whole of the GCC region when it comes to the outbound leisure traveler. We also, of course, have corporate and government travel that we look after. This is predominantly out of Saudi Arabia. We obviously also have religious travel, which is inbound, so Hajj and Umrah travel, which is a large proportion of our business through Muasim, which is headquartered in Mecca. And then also we have another area of our business, which has obviously been growing year on year, which is Discover Saudi, which is our destination management company, which is inbound into Saudi Arabia. Both looking after MICE business, but also looking after B2B agency business that comes in from there as well. Aside from that, we also have Al Masafa Activities, which is a joint venture with Klook. Basically from there, obviously the activities that we offer in Saudi Arabia are on their platform and vice versa from there. Within that large organization, I have two roles. I look after Al Masafa Concierge, which is our high net worth and ultra high net worth clients, predominantly from a leisure perspective. But we also do a small amount of high-end C-suite level away weekends, away days, or whatever it might be with other areas of our business on there as well. And then also within there, from a partnerships and a luxury perspective, I also support other areas of our travel business that I've mentioned before in sort of like growing and developing and looking at the strategy behind how to grow those elements of the business as well. With, as you said before, with the the years of experience that I've had in the industry, and also being able to see things in some cases from a sort of like a larger perspective, a wider perspective, I should say, from not just the GCC perspective, but also from the European inbound perspective as well. Obviously, the majority of our clients are what we would say local. So in Saudi Arabia, predominantly local Saudis that are traveling outbound and also domestically, something that we saw an increase of during the recent period. But also we also have then that European and international inbound perspective coming into Saudi Arabia now, especially as the kingdom under Vision 2030 is sort of looking to drive more tourism into the country.
So
From there.
interesting. Wow, so interesting. And you live, I think you live between Jeddah and Dubai, or where do you live exactly?
So apart from living, most people say, "Do I live on an airplane?" Which is
That's true. You're the most,
probably
I
not
think you
not
are
far
like
off the
all
truth.
over. Yeah.
But yeah, between Dubai and Riyadh, between our two
Okay.
headquarters.
Okay.
So between the two, I originally came over to Dubai. It would be just over 15 years ago now, 16 years ago. So was working then for Donata and Emirates Group. Which is what brought me to the region in the first place, and then was thoroughly fascinated by it ever since then. That's where I've now remained, and then obviously have this opportunity now for the last 8 years with Al Masafa, as they've gone through their transformation, as Saudi Arabia is going through its transformation, and being very honored to be a part of that evolution of the kingdom that has
Oh,
been there.
sounds so interesting. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that part of your business. Fantastic. Sophie, yeah, your story reflects what many people in the industry are currently experiencing in the Middle East. You just simply lost your job. More or
Yeah.
less almost overnight, like many others did. Thousands, I think we hear these numbers here, thousands have lost their job, and it's actually a fact. But you are a very young, encouraging lady, and I hear from some colleagues, oh, I'm going to leave now because there's no future. It takes too long. I cannot wait, and nobody knows what's going to be going on. So you actually decided to stay in Dubai and hold on and continue building your future there. You are raised in Germany, in Hamburg. You are actually a Persian background, but you're German. So we would like to know what still makes such a young lady like you believe in Dubai and the Middle East tourism market despite all the current uncertainty. So what is it? What is driving you?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me here. I think Dubai still has a lot of opportunity here. That's why I moved here, because studying in Germany and starting my career there, to compare what I experienced here, is a big difference. So development is here, opportunities are there. It's definitely one of my reasons why I want to still stay. And I know that Dubai and the UAE in overall can recover and rebuild very fast. I mean, I think COVID proved that as well, that Dubai or the UAE was one of the destinations who rebuild and recover so fast. And it's also the lifestyle. It is the weather, because I'm from the northern of Germany, so we barely see the sun. That's also one of my reasons. And I know going to Q4, we can recover from what happened here. Definitely.
Okay, I think you also mentioned it on a conversation, the what is it for women and the safety part, right?
Yes. So when I look to the headlines and social media news in Germany, it is way different than what it actually is here on the ground. So what we experience here is definitely what you can see in the news. Everything is safe here, especially for women. I mean, you could see in the lines that in the news, they mentioned we don't have enough food here anymore, no supplies of water. We're living in a war zone, and all this, it's actually not true. We still continued our life, our daily doing. Everything was fine. We always felt safe. So the UAE even proved more their image that it is a very safe place to live.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know I live in Frankfurt, you live in Hamburg. I mean, we cannot go after 10 p.m. We cannot go to train station, right?
No,
Our
no. You need to
metropolitan
have a
cities.
car. No,
Yeah,
that's not like it. I mean, during evening and nights, I'm going to have a walk at Kite Beach. I go to events, to concerts alone. I do all these activities alone or with my friends, and I always feel safe here,
yeah.
especially as a woman. So there's nothing to worry about it.
I think that's very important for a young person, especially
Yes,
a lady. Absolutely. That makes a big, huge difference also for the lifestyle in Dubai and why you're
that's
hanging on.
true. I agree,
Fantastic.
definitely.
Great. Hamid, your company has a very special story behind because you are actually a family company and you are
Sure.
part of the family, one of the three brothers, and your dad was the one who created it. So, can you tell us a little bit about the company? What is your core expertise today, and how does the family DNA influence the way you do business across Middle East and international?
Sure, sure. First of all, thank you so much, Astrid, and to give us the opportunity to speak in this kind of panel list, and to all our colleagues who's in the panel list. I will start to thanks my dad to do the company, then that's why I'm here now.
Thank you,
So,
Dad.
so let me give you a small brief about us as a Guarantee Travel. Guarantee Travel, it's a family company started 2 decades ago from my father. Then we are coming the second generation, which is we are known as Kutishat brothers, the three brothers in the
You're
city.
famous, yeah.
Thank you so much. But the truth, we are operationally handling in Middle East and Europe. We are started in Jordan, then we shift to Dubai, then we shift to Barcelona, then now we are in Riyadh. The company is not like Rob. We have small structured, which is still we are in family business. So we are more in MICE and event sectors. This is the big chunk, I can say. Then we have the concierge and the luxury department. Then we have the TMC, then the wholesaler. The story which is behind is a family, to be honest, is the DNA. So that's why when you aren't going to family, you're looking long vision, long-term vision, especially in our area. It's all about your name, about your reputation. So the DNA, which is we are care about how to doing the business through your concern is to keep your name, through the delivery, the best thing you can deliver to your family. That will go aside with your employee, with your client. So the serve them as a family. So this is the brief structure how we are doing the business in Guarantee.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Okay, now let's go a little bit deeper, Rob. You obviously, as we heard, you have a very good understanding of the Middle East markets. So how do you see the situation in the region at the moment versus what is projected in the media within Europe? So what's going on at this stage? Are you holding back the business? Is it still quiet? What's going on?
I think from our perspective, obviously we have been pleasantly, I should say, surprised. Pretty much our consumer business has returned to the same levels as it was prior to the conflict starting. Obviously, there was a period at the beginning that there was a drop, there was concern. Obviously, the biggest issue was obviously the airlift and the movement of people. One of the things that we obviously found was, and obviously being predominantly in Saudi Arabia, was the fact that there is such a large growing domestic market in Saudi as well. So it gave us an opportunity very similarly to COVID, where people in Saudi especially had this opportunity to be able to explore more of the resorts and more of the areas of the kingdom itself, whether that be the Red Sea, whether that be Al Ila or going to Jeddah. There was this keen movement within domestic travel. Soon after that, and obviously it differentiates between different obviously source markets that we have. But you'll find that the majority of people like switched either to do staycations or if I look at sort of like as our largest market, Saudi Arabia, it's now very much moving back to a sense of normality. And I think that the biggest issue, as we discussed before, is airlift. Obviously carriers have started operating again. You're seeing flights operating from obviously the major airlines, Etihad, Emirates, that are all operating, Qatar Airways, Gulf Air again, and the others. The biggest issue is obviously that there is still a reduction on air transport in from other carriers, from either from Europe or from other Southeast Asian destinations that are not starting their routes just yet. So this is obviously, it causes a little bit of a block for us, especially with certain destinations which at this time of year would normally be busier. Especially with the Eid breaks coming up towards the end of May, etc. People looking for a quick getaway, sort of maybe into the Indian Ocean. Obviously, that airlift is not there at the moment, which then has caused a number of issues with those destinations. However, what we've seen is a shift elsewhere. So we're seeing a lot of requests coming in for Europe. We're seeing requests still coming in for further afield in Southeast Asia, where they can utilize different airlines and different routes to get to where they need to be, whether that be into Japan or Thailand or wherever it might be. And then also the Americas as well. Obviously, you know, Saudi Arabia and Qatar are through to the finals of the World Cup. So obviously there is some interest there, going to see those matches and then exploring, instead of coming back, exploring those regions. So we've had requests for the first time for some of our luxury clients going to the Caribbean or going further afield, whether that be within the US or around or into Mexico. So we're finding this is what it is. It's a shift. And I think that one of the ways that I tend to look at it and try to sort of keep a positive mind for everybody and for hoteliers especially is that I always feel that here it's a bit like when you're a kid when you're at school, and you want to go out and you look outside the window and it's raining and you're literally like standing there waiting for the rain to stop so you can go out and play with your friends. I've always felt, and in the years that I've been here, whether it had been COVID, whether it's been the recent conflict or whatever it has been, there is always this urge and this want and this desire to travel, and that desire doesn't go away. And it really is like that at the moment. It's really like a lot of people are wanting to make their plans, make their summer plans, etc. Okay, they're asking different questions more and more about cancellations, amendments, etc. But we are still seeing that come through. And as I say, for us, it's become a lot more positive in the last month, and continuing that way as well, which is great for us across the
Yeah.
region.
Yeah, that sounds great. But I have seen by coincidence an STR report yesterday, and with for all the Middle East countries, Jeddah interestingly had the highest peak. I don't know if there was something religious going on, or like but it was very interesting. It was kind of really standing out. That reflects what you said. Yeah,
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 you have obviously Jeddah is obviously the main gateway for Mecca, and it's Hajj season at the moment. So
yeah, of course.
absolutely you'll have that.
Mm-hmm.
But also again, they've moved forward very quickly with opening a number of resorts in that sort of like Jeddah area as well for domestic travel. So all of this combined is increasing the interest that's coming in.
Cool, very good. Well, Sophie, talking about Europe, actually,
Yeah.
astonishingly, also, no, we were stunned that Germany was actually one of the first countries, is it already 2 weeks ago now, that lifted the travel warnings to the UAE, so within the European countries. So you've since been speaking with partners, agencies also back home in the German-speaking market. What kind of feedback are you receiving in terms of traveling? Are they still resilient? We are very resilient, I guess, but we're still skeptical. So what's going on in your environment? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think in overall, the DACH market is not an easy market, especially when we have such escalations. It's not easy to get back the trust and confidence, but that's our goal at the end of the day. But for now, after we don't have this travel ban anymore, we can see slowly pick up. It's still very slow, but I mean, it's good. It's better than nothing. But it's also, we're going to the low season because it's getting hotter. So I think overall Q4 will look a bit better. But the feedback of the agents is definitely they're looking for more transparency, open communication, quick actions, flexibility. That's what they need right now in order to get the trust back.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have 2 flights from Frankfurt, meanwhile, to Dubai, one from Hamburg already, so with Emirates at least. So that's all happening. Yeah, for sure. Good. Hamid, how do you experience the demand of the business to the Middle East at the moment? What's your experience? You're a lot in mice, etc. So that's always a bigger chunk, Yeah, it's not so easy to move groups around, but do you have a lot of cancellations or?
Let me start, to be honest, from the Middle East. As for me, as a Middle Eastern, so I'm originally belong to the city, so I leave this kind of thing. I'm sorry to say that, but this is fact, and it's giving us some time privilege to see what's will happen and what's happened. I start my journey in the same area, Iraq War. So I faced it. It's finished. We grow. So back to your question, demand is real. I will be honest. Demand is real, but it's not equal. This is what I can say. We can see a huge. I will not say huge. I will say good demand from specific department, which is the MICE and events. A little bit of luxury traveler. We can see they are starting to move. Leisure part, yes, I can see it's need more time. Meanwhile, to be honest, which I'm happy to be honest to see in Dubai, there is no cancellation. It's postponed. From my perspective, I will be honest and very transparent. I seen majority of postpone. I don't see that much cancellation. So that's because when we was before, no, it's when it's affecting us a little bit harder than we will recover. Here, no, it was postponed. I can see that the client, they are aware about the situation. They are open to understand what's happening. Like I'm speaking with you, and tomorrow we are launching the Rally of Middle East. Is happening in 3,000 backs. Is happening in the Middle East and
3,000
all.
packs.
Yeah, this is
Oh.
happening. Yeah, we are arranging all this kind of in Jordan. It's happening tomorrow in Dead Sea. Few businesses start to move on. I will not say it's the same. It's not the schedule,
Of course.
no. But we can see clients start to behave more faster. Yes, he start to short the booking time instead of 3 to 4 months. He start to be shorting the time when they are ready to book their event. Diversity is the most important part, to be honest, in the Middle East. Just to be more because it's department now. Some departments running like that. We say the TMC, which is the travel management services. It's running back smoothly. People they need to do their own business. Client is safe. Like country is safe. Flight, it's back. I will not say 100%, but you can see. I
There's
just
a
came back.
tendency. There's a tendency, a
Yeah,
positive tendency. Yeah.
there is. This is what I can see. It's real. The demand is real. This is the
Good.
truth, but it's not equal. This
No,
is
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Very good. And I believe we should all see that and feel that and tell our clients also the positive news. Rob, Dubai has become one of the most desirable destinations globally. The marketing is unheard of. I think everybody I've spoken to almost said it's such a shame because the first quarter was so amazing. We were doing so well. I hear this from so many the agencies here in the German. We have succeeded our budget, so it's very painful what has happened. But when we come to Dubai, do you think the region has perhaps become too dependent on image, branding, and constant growth narratives, so that it kind of like you will be questioning if it can come back, or is it just it is Dubai? Dubai is Dubai. What do you think? That's a tough question, I know.
No, I think to be honest, and having lived and been here for so many years and proudly seen sort of like the UAE and other countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, all of them grow year on year and evolve. And also, I think no, I think to be honest with you, the here they always look at opportunity. It's always the opportunities that come out of any situation, whether that had been before COVID, financial crisis, whether that had been oil situations, or even, as I say, with Saudi Arabia, the opening up of Saudi Arabia. All of these are opportunities. And I think that what it is, it's a period of recalibration. They look at it, they sort of like look at sort of the positives that come from it and how do they recalibrate it and how do you sort of like evolve it from there. And I think living here in the region, you're already seeing that as well. And I think that again, like they looked at, like, obviously now they're looking at staycations and things here in the UAE. It's a great opportunity for a lot of people to experience and enjoy restaurants and hotels that maybe they may have not had the opportunity to have done over the last couple of years when they opened, because the rates were incredibly high. They were sort of like more getting the inbound business, etc. And now that has all changed and evolved. So you have local people here that are now having some really good weekends. They're experiencing that. They're also again exploring their own backyard, so to speak, again. So do I think will it sort of like change? No, I don't think so. And I think that obviously both as Sophie and Hamid have said as well, and I will say it's an incredibly safe place to be. Really, really super safe place to be. So it's been amazing. And no, I don't think there will be that change.
That's great. Yeah, I flew to Singapore about 3 weeks ago through Dubai, and there was still a little very dark outside. Let's put it that way. There was nothing, but I flew, and then I posted this, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to Dubai to Singapore," and I was like, people writing me, "Seriously? Is this possible?" And I'm like, "Just you are in the travel trade, guys. You need to know what's going on." And it's, I mean, I was so, not because I'm silly or I'm whatever. I just feel confident. I think people know what they are doing in there, and it's very well organized. And I also feel a very pride, even if you expatriates, everybody who decided to stay, they're very proud of how this has been handled. And I've in the beginning when I said, you see all these influencers, they're not allowed to say anything, and if they say something, it feels like it's not it's put into their words, into their mouth. We also had that, but then I speak to people, and it's like, really, it is what it is. You cannot neglect it. So I think this is so interesting, but we need to go over this peak now, over the positive peak. So, Sophie, talking about going over the positive peak, we know it was a very super strong first quarter. You were working, you were bringing in room nights like mad, and
Yeah.
you have your dreams. So, what do you see as a young person? How resilient is this market living there? Speaking to a lot of colleagues of yours, I
Yeah.
know when we spoke on the weekend, you said, I'm going to the beach with other colleagues that also lost their job, but they're still hanging around. I think that's so lovely. It's the reality. So how do you see this resilient business there?
I think because Dubai is so diverse and we do not depend on only one market, we have so many markets to cover. And actually, these other markets like CIS, Eastern Europe, India, and so on, we're the people who covered this gap. But I think it's more than other people expect. And I think that's what I mentioned before as well, that we're going to recover soon. That's why me, my colleagues, friends here in Dubai, we choose to stay because giving up right now is not an option, especially
Very
because
good.
we feel that safe here in this country, in this Emirates. So that's why I think we can look forward to a good Q4. That's what I think. I think you can agree, Rob, Hamid. It's gonna be
100% I agree with you.
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Sophie, what do you want to
Yeah.
be? Where do you want to be in 10 years? It's like an
Me in 10
interview.
years.
What do you want to be, a GM, or what do you want to be?
Well, I mean, I'm here for my career for sure. I want to develop.
Mhm.
Maybe one day I want to be in a director role for sure, but I also want to build my family here. So I have this two wishes for my life. So
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand. And it's a fantastic opportunity for young
it
people
is.
because
Yeah,
you can make you can save a lot of money because the taxes, etc. So many
that's true.
opportunities for you guys there. And we are very in Europe. It's all about regulations and taxes, and
Yes,
it
that's
makes
true.
life easier if you're a young person.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Hamid, what about the illusions that we are creating? Are we partly looking at an illusion created by post-pandemic momentum and big investments, or are we seriously heading out to a slowly future back to the
Mm,
market?
to be honest, I think the growth, sustainability is in the market is
Mm-hmm.
there. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
again, I will use my experience as a Middle Eastern who's living in the Middle East, who live many pandemic as well, and many crises. You can understand growth is there. To be honest, and the sustainability in this region, and to coming back in the business is not about idea or about what will happen. It's about like you can see there is a regulation, and this regulation has happened as well more than before the pandemic. The laws which is helping the people to start to do the business operationally is the infrastructure already there. So you can see, let's take the pandemic of COVID, what happened. You get my point. There was really before it's happening
Sure.
in regulation in the so that will give you privilege to be sustainable. You get my point, and to give you stability in the market, how to face this in the market. And I will be honest, which is I like what's happening in Dubai now,
Mm-hmm.
as well. What is from our experience, once issue or happening in our life, immediately in this region they will start to do upgrade their system. They will start to do maintenance for their for the regulation as well, update the regulation as well. Personally, we start when the issues happening, we start to update our new CRMs to include
That's
this.
true.
This is
Yeah.
true. This
It's
is the
always
right
an
time.
opportunity.
Opportunity to change to
Mm-hmm.
change to change
Mm-hmm.
the feature, and you can see the city like I seen by myself in Dubai in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
All the country was closed. The regulation is against. City was operation. The most important operation and regulation. It was always there, and it was ready to develop. And once thing it's happened, it will be, I think, back to the. I think it will not be back to the normal. I think the demand is will be more. This is I think the travel revenge is there as well. It's after COVID, it's become part from the
Yeah.
game. There is revenge in the travel. I need to like personally, once I need to travel as much as I can.
Right.
Now flight is there. This is my perspective, to be honest, especially in the cities in Dubai
Mm.
as well in Jordan. They faced many challenges before, and it passed. It passed no, and
Right.
I can see the progress. Like I will give you one example. Honestly, this has happened to me. I was in Jordan office, I think 2006 or seven, and they start the develop of growing in Dubai. It was become bigger and bigger. A lot of cities. Then I remember that a lot of people they inform me, Hamid, all it will be empty. All it will be empty. There is no business. And after, especially after the 2007 crisis, and honestly, I personally, I was looking for one room with 2,000 dirham, and I will never find in whole
Mm-hmm.
city. So, I think the sustainability is there in the Middle East. I think this
When
is
do
the
you
market.
think business is coming back a little
It's
bit more? When do you think?
I
Is it?
will be honest. I will be honest. Is apart from adaptation. So how you
Mm-hmm.
need to adapt as a
Yeah.
supplier or as a hotel
Yeah.
or as a it's a part from the game. If you
Mm-hmm.
adapt and you understand what is the role business now in the market, you can. We can like that's why you see
You
somebody.
mentioned something like August, September. Is that something you?
For me, majority of my business is shifting to
Mm-hmm.
August and September. I'm
Okay.
seeing the big chunk, but as well, I think the business is back slowly,
Mm-hmm.
slowly.
Of
But I
course.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
the momentum it will be September and August to
Yeah.
back the normal.
And will
But
Arabian travel market take place? What do you think,
yeah,
guys? Yeah.
in August, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I think it would be a fantastic sign. I mean, I think it would be great, and I don't see why it should not, honestly.
yeah.
It's good that we are holding on. It's gonna be super hot, but it doesn't matter. Sophie loves the heat. I know that. That's for sure. Very good. Yeah, my last question is a little bit provocative, but it's also honest. What is the one biggest risk nobody industry wants to talk about openly now for our future with the Middle East? What is the biggest risk, Rob, that we don't want to talk about? Being positive people.
It's a very interesting. When I saw this question, I was like, "That's a very interesting one," to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
Look, I think that for me, I see it from there is two potential risks that a lot of people don't talk about at the moment. I think, look, if I say one of them at first is airlift. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are like talking about people coming back. They're talking about, and again, exactly as the same as Hamad and Sophie say, like, I think that we've obviously seen a return to outbound travel already from Saudi Arabia to the levels that it was before the conflict, which is fantastic. But it's about the inbound. It's about the MICE business coming in, inbound business coming in, etc. I think this is the one, and I think that this is obviously a large element of it is around airlift.
Mm.
And this is what we need because obviously flight pricing has gone up due to the fuel situations, and that's across the board. That doesn't matter whether the airlines are based here or they're based in Europe or Asia or the Americas. So I think that this then encompasses probably my overall risk that people are not talking about is pricing, because pricing in this region had already exponentially increased. Dubai had become expensive. A lot of resorts
Mm.
and luxury within Saudi Arabia was expensive, not because of not well, more because the demand was there, but there wasn't necessarily there wasn't the keys available to keep up with the demand. Now with the airfares also becoming excessively expensive and there not being the airlift as well, I think it's the whole pricing element. I think this is the thing. Yes, it's great. We all want people to come back into the region. We want people to be traveling. We want inter-regional travel, but within the GCC, we all want this, and we all want this to come. I think the biggest element is really that's not being spoken about is really the pricing element. Is how do we tackle that pricing when it comes towards Q3, Q4, and onwards from there when airfares have gone up? Obviously, pricing, does it go back to where it was before? And we all know from the pandemic period when pricing went up exponentially, but the level of service, the level of what the guest was receiving was not at the same level. And then really pricing didn't come down that much in some markets after that. So I think it's just always it's that balancing of pricing that comes in. And I think that's the biggest risk that a lot of people are not talking about at the moment. And how do we cover that off?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Two very, very good points. Absolutely. Sophie, what do you think is one biggest risk nobody in the industry wants to talk about openly now for the future?
Well, I think the topic which I want to mention, we already spoke about. As someone who's rely on social media and all that, I would say if we cannot stop and we can't influence, obviously, what's going on social media and the news, we cannot recover to the image we had before. Because when I see only German news and social media post an influencer, the image of Dubai right now is very bad. And that's going to influence the booking behavior for sure. And we don't have an influence to that. We cannot change that. But if that's going to stop, or for now it's a risk, but if that's going to stop, we can go back to this image we had. But for now, this is for me especially very risky.
Very,
So,
very
yeah.
good point. Very, very good point. Absolutely, for sure. What about you, Hamid? What is one of the biggest risks nobody in the industry wants to talk about openly? What do you think?
I think, to be honest, something is the two thing. To be honest, it's not about as well in the Middle East because this is issue which will be passed. The most important for me is the adaptation. The human the client behavior is changing fast now. So you get my point. After any issues or when you will see different in the client behavior. So you need to adapt as a client, as an agent or as a hotel, immediate adaptation. This is, I can say, it's a risk if we don't have the adaptation. On that, I think it's especially in the like market like Middle East, it's super fast, super dynamic, a lot of momentum of recovery, a lot of issues might be happen. So I think the outbound, this is, I think, the thing which is we are more focusing on. The other part, which is personally I care about it, the human. Like now we can see that the majority of the technology is taking the industry to different level, which is I like, but at the same time it's all about the human touch. I need to see still front office. I need to see. You get my point. I think we need to still looking more in the human touch and the human wise of. I can say in the industry more than to go more in technology. Yes, we are with the technology, but at least to keep aside the touch of human in the industry.
Absolutely. I think this also goes together with what Rob has said in terms of will we be able to keep the service up? Will we? Because that was definitely a big disaster for all destinations, but also people pay a lot of money and then they don't get the service and the quality. That is such a fine line. This is
But to
really
be
not
honest,
easily.
sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you, but in
No,
Dubai, to
no.
be honest, in Dubai, I think the service is something.
Yeah, but a lot
Uh,
of
uh,
people left, huh? I mean, this is I,
this is
I
for
don't know. Yeah, yeah.
for me.
Sophie is still there.
No, this is the most important.
No,
I need to
joking.
use Sophie as a good example. To be honest,
Yes.
this is the thing which I can see. She still believe in the Middle East. She's
Yes,
not
for
Middle
sure.
Eastern, and that's why I can see that the people there, the countries there, the movement of business is moving aside,
Yeah.
and believe me, not because I'm living here. I say I'm traveling a lot as a part from our work. You will never see the hospitality which is happening in Middle East and Asia everywhere. It's something else. You get my point. As much as it's hard, but they maintain the service. They're working in the infrastructure more and more. And you can see, like, I can send you what is happening meanwhile, happening now in Dubai. The infrastructure, they're making mega project for future, which is,
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
exciting actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
it will make the business behavior, I think,
exciting.
more. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is my opinion. And
Absolutely. No, this is what we are here. Nobody of us has a crystal ball, obviously. I mean, that's for sure. We have, just last but not least, before we end, we have some questions. The one from Pinto Mavis is very difficult because how is the German market responding in terms of travel trends? I think we would need to ask the tour operators here in Germany because we don't have any hoteliers on board here. Really, we do have outgoing, but I think, Pinto, Mavis, I will come back to you later separately because I got some, maybe we can find some more here with our partners in Germany about that. That's Castelfalfi, Italy. Lapo, hello, welcome. Do you think ATM will be useful? And do you think we will have GCC clients in Europe and Italy this summer? That's a good question. Rob, what do you think? And Hamid.
I would say ATM, yeah, of course. I think I think it goes back. Look, it's twofold. It's two things. It goes back to talking about what we were saying before. It's the travel industry that needs to showcase to the rest of the world and every other industry that this region is safe and this region is an area you can travel into. I've always said this, even during COVID. If the travel industry doesn't travel when they're trying to sell travel to people, then who is going to be confident to travel? So I do strongly believe that yes, people like need to be traveling into the region, traveling out of the region, traveling around. So I think number one, absolutely. Is it going to be, will it be something which is a success? Yeah, of course. Obviously, it'll be different to what it was before. I appreciate that obviously it's during the European summer holidays and especially in Italy with Ferragosta and everything. So I know it's not going to be as easy. But again, it's finding a way to do it, but it's also showcasing to the rest of the world that obviously it is a safe destination. It is a destination to come into and to trade. And yes, we are seeing travel into Italy, outbound from the region, from Saudi, from Qatar, from UAE, etc. We're seeing that for the summer months coming through at the moment. The requests are coming in, conversion is starting. Obviously, the Eid period is the main period at the moment that most consumer travelers are focusing on. But after that, they have the whole summer. So yeah, I think it will be a very strong summer from the GCC into Europe.
Great. Hamid, anything you want to add here?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the outbound it will be there. To be honest, but don't miss that the GCC mentality. It's very last minute, so it will be there. It's coming. It will come. Believe me, because we have now businesses happening, a lot of requests, but we understand the market. It will come a little bit last minute. It's all about the airline and airline connection. It's open for the majority of the city where is the hotspot in Europe. So we can say for all hotelier in Europe, no business is coming. Just be ready.
Yeah, and that's maybe also a challenge because the European market is pretty full at the moment. I think Italy, etc., with occupancy and prices. Here, the prices are going up because they were already high before because of the U.S. market mainly. The U.S. is dominating the Mediterranean in terms of kind of like prices in the 5-star top luxury hotels. So I don't know all the numbers, but last minute business, yeah, but you guys have such a great business. I mean, it's so good, it's a strong buying power. So, and there's one last question I would like to put forward before we go from Sebastian. Any destinations which drive aggressive sales that you see at any chance, or is it just everybody's trying to sell? Or aggressive sales is maybe, I mean, I have seen some hotel companies who are going back on sales calls to the Middle East, right?
Yes.
That's happening. I've heard some are coming back. They're starting to do sales calls again and trying to be present. And I think, as always, those that believe in the destination first and embrace the people will probably be the winners, as always, because, it's a giving and a taking. It's a trusting each other. And this is what you said about ATM. We need to set a sign. Will it be useful? Not as it maybe used to be, because it might not be so big, but it is a sign for all of us. And it's also a sign for destinations outside of the Middle East, because they are also impacted. Asia, etc. We all are influenced. We also need to think of these guys. Yeah. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Everybody was in the talk until the end. Thanks for listening to us. This is thank you to my wonderful speakers, which we will watch what Sophie is going to be doing. And stay healthy and happy and everything you are, and all the best. And thank you again from the deepest of my heart. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
so
you.
much,
Have a nice
Sophie.
day.
Thank
Thank
you.
You
you.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.